For those of you who might not know, Caleb and Sophia are infamous cartoons produced by Jehovah's Witnesses and designed to indoctrinate kids. They have some messages which could be considered useful to people, like teaching kids how to be more helpful and generous, and they have some which are toxic and only used to hurt people, like teaching kids how they feel about gay people. But all of them have been created with a very specific purpose in mind. They're trying to replace children's identities with the cult identities, trying to instill useful traits in them, traits that can be used to the cult's advantage. And for every quote-unquote useful lesson they provide, they always find a way to turn it back to Jehovah. So let's see what lessons 24 and 25 have to offer us. Let's get into it.
They're so beautiful. Do butterflies know they're beautiful?
No, they don't.
Then why did Jehovah make them so pretty?
For us. He loves us and wants us to have beauty all around.
Isn't that the height of hubris? God made butterflies so pretty to appease us, to make us happy. We're the center of everything. It blows my mind how people can be so self-absorbed like that. But that's kind of part of the doctrine of Jehovah's Witnesses. They feel like everything was put here for them. God designed everything for their benefit and happiness. And by rejecting Jehovah, people are spitting in his face after everything he did for us. But did you notice the sigh she gave there at the end?
Beauty all around.
Like you can see the sense of awe in her. This is one of those things Jehovah's Witnesses like to do. Hijack that sense of awe and turn it toward Jehovah. Everybody feels a sense of awe and wonder for nature. Like when I look up at the stars at night and see the planets and the moon and the shooting stars, it's enough to inspire a deep sense of awe at how vast and amazing this giant system is. And understanding the science behind it makes it that much more special. Like understanding general relativity, understanding that space isn't empty, or that nothing within space can move faster than the speed of light, but space itself can move faster than the speed of light. Or the fact that time is just another direction in space, like up or down. If you're moving northeast through space at 50 miles an hour, that means some of your movement north is diverted into movement to the east. You're moving north at 25 miles an hour and east at 25 miles an hour. And it works the same with time. If you're moving through space in any direction at all, that means your movement through time is diverted into your movement through space in the same way. That's why it's commonly known as space-time, because the two things are far more integrated than we originally thought. Here's something else that makes me feel awe. Scientists notice that we can take two particles that are entangled, bring them to the opposite sides of the Earth, take a measurement of one of them, and as soon as we do, we get new information from the other. Faster than light travel, regardless of distance. That's information moving faster than it's supposed to be able to move in space. So here's a scenario Albert Einstein posed about quantum entanglement. Imagine you have a left-handed glove and a right-handed glove. You put each one in a briefcase. Take one to the North Pole and one to the South Pole. You open the briefcase at the South Pole. It's a left-handed glove. You now know that the one at the North Pole is right-handed. If it's right-handed, you know the other is left-handed. That isn't exactly transferring information faster than the speed of light. It's just having knowledge about one thing inherently gives you knowledge about the other thing. So is that how quantum entanglement works? Is it basically just a left-handed, right-handed kind of situation? No, it isn't. It's actually communicating information faster than the speed of light. We've known that through something called the Bell experiments. They were started in the 1970s and 80s, I think, and the experiments have continued all the way through 2018. It's actually transferring information faster than the speed of light. Those things make me feel awe. And I don't need to believe that God made it that way specifically for me to appreciate it. I can appreciate it just fine without thanking God for doing it like that specifically for me. It really is the height of hubris to think that we're the center of everything. And I don't see it any differently than when Galileo dethroned humanity from the center of the universe. But Jehovah's Witnesses are taking that awe that people feel for things around them and directing it into Jehovah. Trying to get kids to take on that arrogant attitude that God made everything for their enjoyment and their benefit. It's just another method the religion uses to make their members more dependent on them. Okay, let's continue.
Now think of all the different butterflies you've seen.
awesome!
Did you know that every single butterfly starts out as a caterpillar?
Fact check time. Okay, that checks out. Let's continue.
Isn't it great that Jehovah designed so many wonderful things for us to discover? That shows how much he loves us.
I can't wait to be in paradise, to study every butterfly that Jehovah has designed.
Yeah, I think I've got some bad news for you there. What if I told you there was no paradise? What if I told you that you're gonna have to learn everything you want to know about butterflies in the short time you have here on this planet, here and now? The governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, the people who guide this cartoon and the message it has for people, they don't want people going to college and learning about this stuff here and now. They've outright said that. This isn't extrapolation. They want people to save it for the paradise. Appreciate what Jehovah created so that you'll feel more linked to the organization, but become a window cleaner and pioneer as a full-time door-knocking evangelist. That's the best outcome in their eyes. So many intelligent people who could be pouring their lives into research and education, and instead of putting that intelligence and talent to good use, they're blowing what little time they have on this planet knocking on doors for a cult. It hurts me on the inside. I blew through an awful lot of time knocking on doors too. I'm sure lots of people can relate to that feeling, but here we are now, and we can use that time we have left to actually make things better for people around us, instead of making it into what the governing body wants it to be. Okay, let's continue. The next video is lesson number 25, making friends.
Sister Elsa, did you paint these?
I did.
They're amazing. How long have you been drawing?
As long as I can remember. It's my way of being able to share all the stories of my life.
Could you show me?
Yes, of course. I remember a time when I was young and in East Germany. We weren't allowed to do our work as Jehovah's Witnesses. We were under ban. I helped in copying our Watchtower magazines by hand and then hiding them in food.
You did?
Yes, we'd then send the food to our brothers who were in prison. I was also asked to help in distributing Bible literature to our congregations as an underground messenger.
Okay, this is important. I saw Lloyd Evans address this issue on the John Cedars channel, and I felt like I needed to address it too. This Caleb and Sophia video came out forever ago. It isn't a new episode, so it probably isn't referring specifically to recent events. But for those of you who might not be up to date on the goings-on with Jehovah's Witnesses, they're under ban right now in Russia. The Russian government has declared them extremists. You're allowed to be Jehovah's Witness in Russia, but you aren't allowed to congregate, discuss your beliefs, or possess any extremist literature, i.e., no Jehovah's Witness literature at all. If you're found with it, then they'll confiscate it and send you to jail. Definitely not something you'll ever see in the US. We love our freedom of religion too much for that. But I've talked about my feelings on this before. It's been a while, but some recent events have taken place which compel me to talk about it again. 7 Jehovah's Witnesses were tortured by the Russian government recently. They were taken into custody, and among other things, they had water dumped on them and were shocked with a stun gun. They had bags taped over their heads, their hands tied behind their backs, they smashed their fingers, they beat them on their necks, feet, and kidneys. Apparently they were trying to get them to tell them about their leadership and their meetings. I'm sure everybody already knows how I feel about this, but just to be super extra sure, I don't ever condone violence. It is most definitely not the way to go. And here's why. First of all, torture doesn't yield reliable information. Who's to say the people you're torturing even know the information you're looking for? Most of the time there are cutouts and stuff. The information people are willing to torture for is usually on a need-to-know basis. Who's to say you've got the right guy? You haven't even gone through the court system. Most of the time you can't possibly know for sure that they have the information you want. What if the information you're looking for doesn't even exist? What if, for example, the branch of the Taliban in Iraq actually deployed to another area days ago, and you're torturing this dude to find out where they're hiding in the city? The torturers think you're lying, and if they actually don't have the information you're looking for, but you're still torturing them for it, what's gonna happen? They're gonna tell you whatever they think it'll take to make you stop. Seriously, there have been studies done on this. Torture is insanely ineffective. It isn't a good way of getting information. Not only that, but you give up your moral values and your humanity when you start torturing people. You can't possibly do that without dehumanizing somebody. It's just a bad road to go down. And here's the second reason why violence like this isn't helpful. Because now they're going to be using this to recruit people and lock others in deeper by using it in their propaganda for decades to come. Look, this Caleb and Sophia video was released in like 2016 or something. That's over 70 years after they were banned in Berlin. And they're still talking about it. Russia just created a new generation of martyrs to tell their stories. You know they're going to use this in future videos and literature. Russia just did more harm to the movement than anybody can account for. Now they can talk about how persecuted they are, and they'll be right. They're definitely going to blow it out of proportion. Make it look like 7 people being tortured by an oppressive government is basically the same as every Jehovah's Witness on the planet being attacked by every government at the same time. But in their defense, they were attacked for their beliefs. Knowing their mindset though, none of them are sad or broken up over these events. Probably not even the victims, because to them, it means Armageddon is that much closer. I remember taking pride in some of the stories I heard about people being tortured and killed in World War II. I wasn't heartbroken over this. I was proud of my fellow Jehovah's Witnesses for standing up for what they believed and dying a martyr's death. That's not a healthy mindset at all, but it's a mindset that Russia just gave to millions of people. Okay, let's continue.
Time passed and then things started getting better in Berlin. Shortly after, I immigrated to New York, and I met my darling husband.
Wow, that was a great story.
Thank you. But I'm sure you have stories. What do you like to draw?
Well, actually here. This was the time when Caleb and I went to the park and we met a little girl there. I'm glad I reached out that day. Lasting friends can be of any age when they love Jehovah.
So what's the message here? I was trying to tie this back into the title, something about making friends, and I couldn't figure out where they were going with it. Of course, Jehovah's Witnesses are serious about not making close friends with outsiders. They can be acquaintances, but you can't really hang out with them outside of school or work. You're supposed to live in the world but not be a part of it. And then I heard this right here.
Lasting friends can be of any age when they love Jehovah.
Lasting friends can be of any age when they love Jehovah, but they can't be friends if they don't love Jehovah. That's really the message here. I know in my Kingdom Hall there weren't many kids, a few, but I really didn't hang out with any of them. Not much anyways. It wasn't good for me, psychologically. Isolated from normal people my age, or from anybody at all really. And that's the story of an awful lot of people. Not just ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, but people from all kinds of religions. Cults like to isolate their members from the outside world. I'm just glad I got out of that situation, so maybe I can have a positive impact on other people who are in that situation right now. Anyways, that's all I've got for you. If you like the work I do and you want to support me outside of YouTube, you can do it by checking me out on Patreon. Patreon gives me stability that I just can't get through YouTube. It's the best way to support my work. There's also PayPal, and don't forget to check out my podcast where I talk about all kinds of stuff. I talk about current events, and I read Jehovah's Witness literature, and I also talked about the Russia ban on the podcast recently, so watch out for that clip to release on there. All links are in the description as always. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.